So, are you ready to get started? Let's learn some of these magical trips. So I'm going to pop on up here my presentation that I created for you guys. And bringing it on down. And let's come back. Let's see where the other screen went to. Here it is. Enter full screen mode, and we've got it. Awesome. You know what? I personally know that when you leave the classroom to release stress of owning your own online tutoring business, you can actually bring on new forms of stress. It's been estimated that people who work for themselves suffer from more stress than those who work for others. And there are still bills to pay, time to manage, responsibilities to meet, and expectations to fill. And this difference is when you work for yourself, you can choose what to do about it and how you're going to eliminate that stress. Now, you guys, I experienced hope and fear all wrapped into one in my first 2 years. I had just failed at 5 businesses in my first year. I left what seemed to be a safe job with benefits, but in all honesty, it had caused an undiagnosed illness that left me going in and out of the hospital. And we had started building a pool before I left my job, and it was a $40,000 expense. And I had 3 little ones. Yep, my husband had a good job as an engineer, but life was costing us more money than we had, and what little savings we had was disappearing fast. I began shopping at Aldi because it cut my grocery bill in half. I started babysitting in the morning before my kids went off to school to make some extra money. And I share this because, we only take pictures of those happy moments, right? But sometimes there's underlying stress that no one else can see. I did keep focusing on what I wanted to create versus the current stress that could have taken me down. And I got clear on what I wanted in my life and what I wanted it to look like. I even talked about it with other people, but they told me I was dreaming. I even had some people say, "Oh yeah, good luck with that." But I knew that anything was possible. And I allowed myself to feel the fear while creating my dream life. And I chose not to stay in fear. I chose to focus on the empire that I was building. I don't know if you guys know this, but stress can actually shorten your life. White blood cells, they can multiply, overwhelming your immune system. Cytokines, they multiply, which leads to inflammation in your body. And this is actually what I had a lot of inside of my body. I had a lot of inflammation that I didn't even realize was inside of my body due to stress. Your blood pressure rises. Insomnia can keep you on edge. Your risk of heart attack and stroke soars. And I don't share this to be negative, just what does really stress do to our body, right? You might all of a sudden want to do something really big, but you feel like you can't. You probably know that you need to start something, right? Start by structuring your days in ways that support and enrich your life. You can't plan for everything, but you can be proactive about how you schedule and create your working days. And figuring out your perfect day begins with asking yourself these 9 simple questions. So I'm going to ask them slowly because I want you to think about your answer. So what comes to mind right on the top of your head when I ask these questions? What would a perfect working day look like? What would you do? Who would you spend it with? Where would you be working? What 3 things could you start doing today that might bring you closer to living more ideal days? What 3 things could you stop doing today that might bring you closer to living more ideal days? What is the one thing you need to have a fulfilling morning? What is the one thing you need to have a restful evening? By the way, big shout out to Love to Learning. Love that you're glad that you are here, Latrice. Welcome. If you guys are popping on in, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you tutor. We love always getting to learn who you guys are. And now let's take a look. We don't want to stop there. However, next, consider sketching out your ideal week and ask yourself these 9 questions. Which is your favorite day of the week and why? Which is your least favorite day of the week and why? Or if you answered Mondays, what do you hate about Mondays? Could anything that you do on Monday be moved to a different day? And if you said your favorite day was Friday, what kind of energy do you have on Fridays and how can that best be utilized? And the next one is, how many days of the week do you currently work and how many days of the week do you actually want to work? What activity during your week do you wish you could get rid of? What is the one activity every week that you really enjoy, that you wish you could do more of? What 3 things could you start doing more of during your week? And then what 3 things could you stop doing during your week? When you do these exercises, watch for an all or nothing thinking and other kind of distortions. All or nothing thinking consists of making these sweeping statements to yourself and refusing to look at alternatives. So you'll know you're doing it if you find yourself using phrases like, I have no choice, as you think about the questions. For example, I have no choice, but I have to work 6 days a week because the mortgage has to be paid. This sort of thinking works until your health breaks down, particularly if it does so in a catastrophic way like I experienced. You're rushed to the hospital, maybe you're vomiting up blood, you've got a bleeding ulcer. If that sort of health crisis happens, it's amazing how your outlook is going to change. But why wait until you have a health emergency? Why not look for other solutions and alternatives right now? In order to do that, all we have to do is a simple exercise called reframe. So reframe, I have no choice but to work 6 days a week. The mortgage has to be paid into, I'm going to raise my prices so that I can cut back to 5 days a week. Or I'm going to create a course so that more people can benefit from my tutoring in a DIY format. That way I can tutor 4 days a week and let the recurring income from my courses, paid workshops, or mastermind groups pad my income. Become solution-oriented instead of problem-oriented. Look for solutions instead of drowning in stress. And realize that ultimately every choice you make is up to you. But don't think about making changes. Do it one change at a time. Sometimes it's that one small tweak that makes a major difference in our quality of life and transforms life from stressful to joyful. Now, step 2 is top 4 best ways to stay focused and avoid client drama. Now, making changes for the better depends not just on becoming solution-oriented, but on cultivating clarity and focus. And this boils down to getting to know yourself and your business inside out. This doesn't mean hours of navel gazing. Again, it means taking specific, concrete action. Here are the top 5 best ways to stay focused. And incidentally, if you adopt these as habits, it will also help you totally avoid client drama. So first, track your time even if you're not billing hourly. Use a tool like Clockify, Clockify, to track how long various tasks or projects take. It's going to give you a clearer picture of how long a task takes you. Most of us just assume that we work much faster than we actually do, which means we're constantly running behind. So knowing your true working rate is helpful in planning your workflow. Set and stick to office hours. Tell your clients up front that you stop working at 8 p.m. on weekends and never work weekends. They can email or call, but you may not respond. Your boundaries are really, really important. Next, have a Friday review day. If you constantly scramble to keep up with your daily tasks, block off time every Friday afternoon to look at the coming week. Even 15 minutes can help you feel more prepared and spot any conflict issues. Minimize distractions. Staying focused means putting yourself in an environment that allows you to work. That may mean you might rent an office space outside your home or just buy some noise-canceling headphones. It may mean blocking off entire days for certain projects and ignoring everything else. It may mean using a tool like Rescue Time to keep yourself off social media. Do what you need to eliminate anything that interferes with your focus. One thing you need to know, whenever you change a habit, that benefits others, but not yourself, expect resistance at first. People will complain. They'll test your limits, but don't try to explain. You owe no explanations, and explanations are viewed as an open invitation to argument. Objections to be overcome. Just repeat your new policy cheerfully and firmly. If they continue to argue, repeat it again. For example, if you tell your client that starting next month, you will no longer be offering weekend sessions, she says, "But my kids have baseball and they have dance every evening during the week." Put that thought ahead of time in how you want to handle that. Consider your alternatives. Let's look at 3 widely different ones. I'm no longer offering weekends so that I can be more present for my family. Or if you don't want to go that route, you could say, I can make an exception in your case, but I will have to charge you $40 more per hour for weekend appointments. Or you can be really firm and say, that's no longer an option with me, but I'd be happy to refer you to a tutor who does work weekends. In other words, there's no wrong or right answer unless you say, oh, all right, I'll make an exception for you. You're so special, and totally cave and go back on your decision. All right, I'm going to go back here. It looks like I've skipped some stuff here. There we go. All right, step 3, the secret to developing good work habits. Creating good work habits is all about building a smart schedule that works for your schedule, your time, your student time, workouts, self-care, everything. Scheduling done properly doesn't put constraints on you, and it doesn't limit you. Instead, an optimal schedule creates more free time, cuts down on exhaustion, strain, stress, confusion, promotes clarity and focus. It helps you be more productive, helps you develop good habits and break bad ones. It promotes goal-setting success. It creates a strong structure and framework for life. You remember things better when you get into the habit of sticking to a schedule. You prioritize better. Sticking to a schedule becomes a habit, making it much easier to beat procrastination. It increases self-respect and self-worth. You feel productive, focused, efficient, and stress-free. Life no longer consists of a mad scramble of sleepless nights knowing you didn't prepare for tomorrow's tutoring session or wondering if you're going to meet your course launch deadline. And the more you stick to your schedule, the easier everything about your business gets. And that's for life too, if you apply selective scheduling to your personal time. Now, here are 3 habits to develop that will help you build a strong schedule and one that will keep you on track and on target. Use an electronic calendar for every task, not just appointments. If you need to write a blog post, block off 2 hours. If you have a tutoring session, include for it. Color code, blue for tutoring time, red for out of the office events, green for free assessments or consultations, so you can see at a glance what's coming up. Now, anytime a new task is added to your list, block off time in the calendar, even if it's a month out. Set up reminder emails or notifications so you get electronic nudges. If something requires prep or travel, remind yourself several times, including a week or more in advance. If you have an off-site meeting, add transit time on either end. And here's a real key here, use the same calendar or coordinating overlapping one for your personal life. The danger of maintaining separate calendars is double booking or even forgetting to check the right one for a certain event. If you're very busy, you'll start to allow self-care to fall to the wayside. And if that happens, put it on your calendar. Block off coffee breaks, yoga classes, lunches with friends. Make them official so it's harder to back out of them. Use different color codes for your personal events. Check your work-life balance. Are you getting enough relaxation and personal time each week? Are you spending more time on the phone than you expect or on Zoom? Don't just schedule your calendar, learn from it. The color coding system we talked about in number 1 should give you a snapshot of where your time is being spent. And this is where tracking your time also comes into play. Make that schedule, but the first 2 weeks at least, track every minute of your time. I know it's a pain, but consider it's only for 2 weeks or even a week if you must. Be ruthless, be honest, and track your time, because the reason you're doing it lies in creating a reality check between what you think could be an ideal schedule and what actually is your schedule. And this is where tracking your time also comes into play. You want to make that schedule, but for the first 2 weeks at least, track every minute. You want to check what you think could be your ideal schedule and what a more realistic schedule should be. You can also see where you're bleeding time away. For example, perhaps you meant to spend 15 minutes on Facebook, but in reality, you always end up spending close to 2 hours a day on it because you're using it as a way to procrastinate. Also, track your personal time. Make sure you're not slipping back into bad habits. For example, did you make a promise to yourself to eat a good breakfast away from your computer every morning? And are you finding that just after 3 days of this, you abandoned your new habit and returned to your old unhealthy one? If so, reset yourself again. If something isn't working for you, figure out why and look for alternative solutions. For example, let's say you slip back into that habit of bolting down a coffee and a granola bar at your desk. Why? Is it because you find breakfast boring? You feel stressed and time pressured? Either give your mind an attitude adjustment and a good pep talk and put your foot down, or find another alternative, such as making up a green smoothie the night before and just giving it a 10-second refresher mix in the morning. Even if you opt for a quickie breakfast, make sure you take it into your most relaxed space to sip it, perhaps in the backyard or on your deck, and do the best to taste and appreciate every sip or bite. Being present in the moment is the greatest gift you can give yourself. And all of these new habits we're talking about are going to help you do that and cut down on your stress significantly. So how do you think that your clients are going to respond if you deny them what they want? Because step 4 is the biggest myth about saying no. You know, especially if you are denying your clients something they are used to receiving. While it's true that your clients are never happy when you deny them, it's a myth that they're always going to get angry. It's a myth that clients will get fed up and stop working with you if you turn them down. It is just not so. In fact, saying no to the occasional tutoring request gives you kind of this mystique. You don't want to seem too available, or it's going to appear like you don't have enough work to fill the hours. The irony here is that the more accommodating you are, the less your clients will value you and the more they will expect. So here's what you can do to get comfortable with saying no to clients. Practice saying no to urgent requests. It can be really hard to turn down work from valued students, but remember that we teach people how to treat us. So if someone calls at 2 p.m. asking for a reschedule for their 4 o'clock tutoring session and you say yes, you've set a precedent. Say no to people rescheduling without 24 hours of notice and hold firm. Value your time. Saying no may mean walking away from money, but it also means valuing your time. If it means damaging your health or letting down important people in your life, it's especially important to value your time. Now, that being said, there are ways to say no in a fashion that is more comfortable for you and less disappointing to your ideal client. Ironically, one of the best, most proven ways is to add extra dollar value on outrageous or inconvenient requests. As in, yes, I'll work weekends, but I'll have to charge you double for a weekend session. And seriously, only do this one if you really don't mind working when you said you wouldn't, for a healthy price. Giving your client an alternative is another effective strategy. For example, I'm not available on Saturdays, but I can fit you in on Thursday evenings. Or using positive language is another helpful strategy. For that, reframe your mindset and watch out for overkill. If saying no is new to you, and by positive language, think positive phrases and words. There are words that trigger clients over to the dark side of negative reaction. These words include can't, won't, never. Getting a better reaction from a client can be as simple as saying, I spend time with my family on the weekends, or we're closed weekends, rather than saying, I never work weekends. Instead of saying, I'm not available on Saturdays, try saying, my hours are 12 to 8, Monday to Friday. Write it down. If you really want to take personal rejection out of saying no, make sure it's clearly written and emphasized in your client literature, contracts, brochures, welcome letters, website. People are going to tend to think of things that they read as official documents. Also consider whether or not your client's expectations are realistic. If they're flexing their muscles because they feel entitled or is having a genuine emergency. Is she seriously limited by a change in your policy? Can you afford to lose her? No matter what decision you come to or how you try to handle it, the best way to say no to a client and have that client not resent you for it lies in deciding how to handle objections and phrase your denials well in advance. Create your own cheat sheet or script or policy for dealing with these unreasonable requests or client objections. And remember, any client who becomes difficult and unpleasant over denial, they most likely are a stressful client that you don't want to keep. The step 5 is 4 reasons you shouldn't stay glued to your laptop. Now, some people say that they work better doing 12 hours a day, 4 days a week, rather than 5 days a week at 8 hours a day. Others have problems stepping away from their laptops or mobiles once the workday is done. No matter which habitual way of working resonates with you more, be aware that spending too much time glued to your laptop is unhealthy. And here's why. First, working long hours is going to dull your creativity. 2, forcing yourself to work amps up your stress. When you let stress hormones like cortisol build up in your system, it has awful long-term effects on health. 3, too much laptop time results in losing physical conditioning, and you can risk developing varicose veins and even deep vein thrombosis, poor digestion, lack of muscle tone, digestive difficulties, and gaining weight. And your eyesight can suffer too. 4, you just lose touch with life. It's impossible to live in the present moment when you're constantly living in the virtual world. Life online is largely an illusion. Trying to get my next page up. Here we go. And step 6, the single best way to de-stress. The most effective tips for de-stressing may also be the hardest. First, you want to limit communication and social media time at all times, not just during the workday. Turn off notifications. They'll distract you while you work and clutter up your family relaxation time. And remove apps from your phone that pull your attention away from important matters. And consider an email cutoff like 7 p.m. so your mind can't latch onto the new work issues in the evening when you should be unwinding. Never deal with work communications in bed, on the weekend, or on vacation. Create an autoresponder telling people you're offline to reinforce your boundaries. But the single best way to de-stress? Take action. Realize it's not just your business that's at stake, but perhaps even your health and life itself. You want to honor your health and well-being and put all of these suggestions into practice today. Now, if you feel like your life is just one big organized mess and it's really getting time to get it together, but you don't know where to start, tell me if the following sounds like you. You don't have solid routines or structure in your days because you started your business for more freedom, but truth be told, it's draining and time consuming trying to keep you up with all your commitments without a plan. 2, you're struggling to get it all done in your business because you're constantly stressing about everything else, like the dirty dishes in the sink or the laundry that most definitely needed to be moved from the washer to the dryer several hours ago. Whoops. You're eating like crap because you haven't planned a meal ahead in months, and you're way too familiar with the frantic search for something, anything to eat at the end of the long workday, and never actually making it to yoga, jazzercise, hit, bar, whatever you love the most. And overall, you're overwhelmed by all the things in life and business, and it's reflected in everything from your waistline to your bottom line. Then you want to keep your eyes open, okay? Because we're going to be talking about how to organize your life, your home, and routines for more fun, flow, and happiness. And this is going to be a mastermind that starts tomorrow, and you are invited. As a business owner, the truth is you'll get lots more done and have a lot more fun if you create solid plans and routines. For example, when your home is organized, you can hyper-focus on your work without secretly obsessing about the dirty bathrooms or the major mess in the family room. And when your office space is clean and pristine, it becomes a place you actually want to be. And when you have routines in place that ensure you're well-nourished with healthy food, well-rested with adequate sleep, and well-manicured with self-care rituals, you feel creatively full versus energetically drained when serving your cherished students. And when your finances are in check, you can enjoy life and enjoy spending, a little more cash without sweating over what bill is coming out when, and whether everyone on is whether you are getting paid by all of your students or not. See how this works? When you're a tutoring business owner, it all matters. Your mental health, the health of your business, truly depends on every area of life and business to be flowing well together, especially if you're the face and backbone of your tutoring business, which is, for the most case, for all of us. The good news is you can start simplifying, streamlining, and doing life and business with more intention today. With just a few tweaks, you can ensure every single area of your life is in check and instantly start experiencing more fun, happiness, and ease in your daily life. So this is why I'm introducing how to organize your life, your home office, and routines for more fun, flow, and happiness. This is going to be a life-changing 4-week training. You're going to learn how to organize everything from your home office to your self-care routines and all the things in between with just a few hours so that you can accomplish both what you need to and what you'd love to. We're going to comb through all the main areas of your life and put some simple, actionable routines and practices into place. And as a result, you're going to get to see firsthand how everything flows better, faster, and easier. We are going to be covering advantages of organizing your life so it can flow together, the best systems for streamlining your weekly tasks from cleaning to meal prepping and back again for more productivity and pleasure, and how to efficiently eliminate distractions like dirty laundry during your day so that you can get more done with less stress, how to make meal planning, prepping, cooking, and shopping 100 times easier for yourself, and creating a less stressful business day through structure, routine, and boundaries so that you can easily get in the groove and the flow. And then managing your money and finances so you're not forever wondering if you paid that bill or even if you have enough to pay that bill while crafting content, serving students, and living your life. And living your life in line with your natural rhythms and inclinations, all while being a better business owner and human. And we are getting started tomorrow. So when you are done with working with our mastermind, you'll have a plan for everything, and everything will have a plan, period. So if you're interested in being able to join that for us, Beth is going to put a link inside of the chat box. Also, you are going to see, if you look at the description in YouTube, you will see a description with the link to be able to join us for how to organize your life and your business. Let's make life simpler so it doesn't have to be more difficult and cause more stress. We do not want to live with stress. Am I right, you guys? Well, thank you so much for joining me today and learning how to de-stress your life, and also learning about the next step that you're going to be able to take to make this a reality in your life. Let's do this, you guys. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.